I'm live now, right? Okay, this is my Aman Kumar account. So I will try to message something here. Hello, I'm live now. I will just close this. Okay, just give me a moment, guys. Just a moment. Something is not working. I have joined from both the accounts, so my voice is echoing to me only. Okay. So okay, I think things are fine now. Sorry for the inconvenience, guys. I think I tried to schedule the session right. That is where the problem is. I know how to go live, but this time I scheduled the session and tried to go live, so something was not right. It has delay. Why this screen is still showing like this? I don't know. See, I'm trying to join from a different account. Why it is saying waiting for unfold data science? It should not wait for unfold data science, right? Are you guys able to hear and see the screen? Then I will move on. Is it like somebody who has said notify me will only able to be to see? I don't know. YouTube is also changing 100 things daily. Can I go ahead? Can I go ahead? Just give me a thumbs up. Maybe some issue with my YouTube or something. Okay, fine. So what is the agenda today, guys? Is it's a pretty important session. Okay, and I will tell you that Dockers and everything around ML ops and everything around CI/CD. If you remember, I created a short video where I told that my 3 areas of focus in coming year will be these 3 areas only. Okay, ML ops is one area. This is my personal choice. For you, it can be different. NLP is other area. Okay, and cloud is third area. These 3 areas I'm going to focus in my upcoming year. Okay, why? There is no need to explain more. You know the importance of all these things. Okay, and on my channel also you will see more inclination towards this topic. Okay, because I have seen market in India, I have seen market outside also. There is no other way than being a end-to-end data scientist, or what you say as full-fledged data scientist. Okay, so what we are going to do today is we are going to learn basics of Docker. Okay, basics of Dockers, because Dockers is a pretty important concept. Second thing that you are going to learn is installation of Docker, etc. Okay, and I'm not sure if you have done or not done. Okay, and then we are going to see how to do some basic operations in Docker. Learning Docker, you mean I mean somebody who is new, learning Docker from scratch. Okay, learning Docker from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain things to you, and then in the end I'm going to give you some time to ask me Q&A, because if I explain and Q&A comes in between, right, then that flow is broken. Okay, so I don't want that flow to break. Okay, so and I'm also going to show you some challenges that I'm recently facing. See here, I had already Docker in my machine, but now when I'm running Docker, it is saying Docker not found. Okay, so what is the problem? I don't know. I will try to fix in the session itself. Okay, so first thing first, guys, basics of Docker. Okay, so let me explain you first, and then Q&A will come. If you want to do little hands-on with me, you can do, but Q&A, let's keep it for later part of the session. Okay, and I'm taking into consideration some people are saying that they know Docker and they know CI/CD and they know maybe GitHub, but I'm sure many people are there who doesn't know even what is Docker, And as I say, right, these topics are very, very IT inclined. So somebody who is from a, let's say, statistics background or MBA background or a different background, they find these topics very, very difficult. Okay, that is where I'm here to help you. Don't worry. First of all, let's start the session with Docker. Okay. So as you have come to Unfold Data Science, so no jargons. I request you please press the like button once so that recommendation goes to other people. Please press the like button once and let's start. Okay. So first of all, what is Docker and why everybody is talking about Docker? Okay. Basic fundamental concepts. What is Docker and why there is a need of Docker? So suppose I write 2 lines of Python code here. How many lines? Just 2 lines of Python code. Okay. My first line is import sklearn. Okay. Import sklearn. And my second line is print sklearn dot underscore version. If I remember the command correctly, I think this is how you can check the version. Okay, let's assume I'm checking the version like this. Now my question to you is, will this run in Python 3, this thing that I have written here, or will it give some problem, or it will run in Python 3? Let's make little interactive session, guys. Will it run in Python 3 or it will give some problem? All of you are mostly using Python 3, hence I'm asking from that point. Will it run in Python 3, these 2 lines? Problem. Yes, that is what I wanted to hear. Problem. These 2 lines, if you try to run in Python 3, then there is a problem. Okay. Why? Because you have to write like this. Okay. If you run in Python 2, it will run. In Python 3, it will give you problem. So in Python 3, you have to run like this. Suppose you are my friend. Okay. And you have written a big Python application and you want to give that application to me. So traditionally what used to happen is you will tell me certain things. For example, I'm just writing plain English here. You will tell me that, hey, Aman, run the application in Python 3. Okay. This is first information that you will give me. Run application in Python 3. Okay. That is the one piece of information you want to give me. Second piece of information you want to give me is, hey, Aman, ensure that sklearn is there installed locally. Okay. Ensure sklearn is installed. Okay. Now here I'm talking about just 2 lines of code, guys. Okay. Imagine a large Python application. Then how many of these kind of lines will come? You can think of. Okay. How many of these kind of lines will come into picture? And that is where every time you give your code to someone or you ship your code to someone, traditionally you used to write something like a documentation. Okay. Something like a large documentation saying that follow these instructions. Okay. Instruction 1, instruction 2, instruction 3, instruction 4. Okay. A new person comes and joins your team and that person wants to do project setup in his local environment. Same problem. You want to move your code from development environment to UAT environment or production environment. Same problem. You want to move your code from your entire organization is migrating from, let's say, AWS to GCP or on-prem to cloud. Same problem. Okay. To take care of all these problems, Docker has come into picture, where Docker says that, hey, I make your life easy. You tell me in one shot what all your application needs. Okay. You tell me in one shot what all your application needs in a language that is, specific language that works in the world of Docker. And from there, I will take care of all your dependencies. So these 2 lines you will write in the world of Docker in a different format. For example, you will say from Python. Okay. From Python 3. Just an example I'm giving. Or you can say image Python 3. So these are the specific keywords that will work in the world of Docker and CI/CD. Okay. So what will happen? This is a human language, right? You are saying to one person, run in application 3. To the Docker, you will say, I need Python 3. Okay. To the Docker, you will say, I need sklearn in a different way. Okay. All that thing, whatever you need and whatever you want to do, you will put inside a file. Okay. So for example, here you will write, I want to run my application in Python 3. Okay. Then you will say, I want to use sklearn. And then you will say, I want to run that file. So what is your file? Your file is, let's say, amanpython.py. So you will say, I want to run a command saying python aman.py. Okay. Whatever is your dependencies, whatever is that you need to run your application, you put inside a file and you call it a Docker file. What file you call it? You call it a Docker file. Okay. Once your Docker file is built, then what you are going to do is you are going to create something known as a Docker image. Okay. Once your Docker file is built, from this Docker file, an image is built. Very, very important concept, guys. Pay attention and remember everything that I'm telling you. Even if you understand this 1 hour well, it will help you a lot in the interview. Okay. So your application is aman.py. Your application needs these dependencies. Everything you put inside a file, call that Docker file. From that Docker file, you create an image. Now this image is what goes to, suppose you want to go from UAT to development environment, development to UAT environment. You want to go from UAT to prod. Okay. You want to go from one server to other server, server 1 to server 2. This image is the most important thing that you will use. Okay. That is called a Docker image. For using or creating this image, you need to have Docker installed in your machine. Okay. Before I go into the installation part, I want to explain you one more concept known as containers. Okay. What is a container? So every time you take this Docker image, right? Every time you take this Docker image and you want to run this image, right? So what you want to do, you want to have a Python 3, you want to have a sklearn, and you want to run Python aman.py. For running this, right? When you say run my image, so you will say in the world of Docker, you will say Docker run. I'm just writing Docker command here. Okay. You will say Docker run. Let's say name of your image is my image. Okay. At the moment you say Docker run my image, what Docker will do is it will create an environment to run that. So you can think of, it will create a, this is an environment, virtual environment you can say, or an application you can say on your machine to keep it simple. Okay. And here it will run your application. Okay. And this is nothing but your container. This is nothing but your container. So remember the difference between Docker image and Docker container. People will ask you in interview, difference between Docker image and Docker container. Docker image is created from Docker file where you say that what all I need to run my application and what is the command to run my application. Okay. And Docker container is a virtual environment that is created to run your image. That is the difference. What is the difference between container and virtual machine? I have a detailed video on Unfold Data Science. You can see that there are some differences between containers and virtual machines. Let's not go into more detail of that. Rather, let me try to explain you few more concepts. Okay. So I was explaining you about Docker image, right? There is a place where many Docker images are kept. You can take it and use it. So you have to go to a place called Docker Hub. Docker Hub. Okay. If you go to Docker Hub, right, then you will search here. For example, any image you can search. So if I search Python, right, in Python, you see Python Docker official image. So what is the meaning of this Docker Python official image? That you have a Python image here. Now this image can be used and run an application. Similarly, if you want to come here and say, let's say Node.js. In Node.js, you will find a, simply Node. If you say, I think Node.js will come. Simply Node. If you say, this is the Node.js official Docker image. What is the meaning of official Docker image? So if I click on, for example, Node, you will see many versions of this. So you come here, you see many versions of Node. Now, whichever version somebody wants to use, they can take the Node image from here, tag that version and use the Node.js. If you want to use Python 3.7, Python 3.8, let's see in Python. Okay. Let's see in Python, because you will be able to relate more. So in Python, if I go here, then many Python installation is there. So 3.12 you want to use, or 3.11 you want to use, or 3.10 you want to use, whatever you want to use, you can use it by using Docker image. But important thing is, for being able to use Docker, right, you need Docker in your machine installed. And wherever in whatever server you are going to work, Docker should be installed. Okay. So what happened yesterday is I had Docker, but due to system performance, I deleted Docker for some issues. Okay. And then I'm facing, issues with Docker. So I will fix that issue. But before that, I want to show you, and you can install in parallel with me if you want. Okay. I want to explain you one more concept, guys, that will relate to Docker installation. Okay. Pretty important concept. There is something known as WSL. Okay. WSL. This stands for Windows subsystem for Linux. All of you know that most of the work in office or most of the production environments are Linux environments, right? It's not Windows environment. So we should get our hands dirty with Linux environment. And to have a Linux environment in our machine, either you can have a VM or you can have a dual boot kind of thing, or we can have those kind of things, but no need of any of those things. Microsoft has given a simple solution for this known as WSL. So what it allows you to do is, it allows you to create a Unix or Linux environment in your Windows machine without even installing anything. So if you come here, I have installed a software called WSL. This is my WSL software. Okay, this is my WSL. And this WSL is pointing to one of the hard drive in my machine. So if I say PWD, right, it is pointing to MNTC Windows System 32. So if I go to my hard drive, let me show you. If I go to my Linux, right, so if you see inside network on the lower hand side bottom right, inside Linux, inside network, you see a folder called Linux. This is the drive which that Linux is referring to. I mean that WSL is referring to. Okay. And if I go to home here, so for example, if I go to CD, that is my home, and I do ls minus lrt, these are the folders I have created in my home. Okay. And if I go to home Aman, okay, then this is referring to the same directory it is referring to. Okay. And this same directory will be there in my hard drive. So let me go here and let me go to home. Where is my home? My home is here. Where is my Aman? My Aman is here. And you will see same directories, Aman test, my new test directory, Aman WSL demo, etc. So what WSL does is it enables you to use a Windows Linux environment in Windows machine easily. So makes your life easy. Okay. All the Linux commands will run here. I'm going to take a separate session for Linux commands. Don't worry. Okay. If you are new to Linux environment, some of you may be new, but you can use this for your Linux setup. Now, what has happened is I already had a Docker installation, but if I say Docker version, right, then I should get an output, but I'm not getting an output. There is some problem here. Though I have Docker desktop, let me try opening. So this is the installation part, guys. It will need some patience and it will need some settings. Okay, it's not very simple and straightforward. Okay, so if you want to install Docker, then go to Google and search for Docker desktop installation. Okay, Docker desktop installation. Install Docker for Windows or Mac or Linux, whatever is your. And there are some system settings that need to be checked for Docker installation. Okay, in my case, let me see if I'm able to install successfully. I have downloaded that actually. So I'm trying to initialize Docker and see if the initialization happens properly. Okay, so I'm trying to start here. For you, you have to go to, I will advise you do it later only. Don't do it now, otherwise you will switch between session and installation kind of thing. Don't do that now, do that later only. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to come to install Docker for Windows. Okay, see your system requirements. So based on system requirements, there are few things that need to change. Okay, and then you come and install Docker desktop, and separately you can install WSL as well. Okay, skip tutorial. Let me see if I'm able to run Docker version now. Yeah, it works. So guys, I'll give you one more time what you have to do for Docker installation. Okay. People are asking question, Docker greater than image greater than container. Docker is a concept, image is a file. Okay. Container is something under which Docker runs. Can we install Docker in VS Code? See, from VS Code, you can install this WSL system. Okay. You can you can access this WSL system. I will do that right now. Okay. But Docker installation has to happen separately, right? So it will connect to your Docker, but Docker installation should be there in your machine. Okay. So guys, I advise you do the installation later, because if you flip between installation and session, you may not get the session clearly. Many people have joined now. Let me explain what has been covered till now. Okay. Guys, please pay attention and please be very, very patient in this session. It will be very, very useful for you. Okay. Just hold on. Don't get bored. I know this is a technical session. Don't get bored. Okay. For the new people who have joined, let me explain quickly what we have covered. Okay. So what we have covered is from the beginning, basics of Docker and installation of Docker. So what is Docker? Docker is basically a way to port your application from one environment to another environment through something known as Docker file. So if I want to port my application from one environment to other environment, I say that I need, these are my requirements, this is the command that need to run, create a Docker file, create an image, and that image needs to be ported from one environment to other environment. Okay. Docker runs inside a container. Fine. Docker installation, I told you, go to Google, search for Docker desktops. Do that. There will be some system requirements needed. System requirements are pretty important. Based on your system, I cannot do for all the different variants of operating system. So based on your requirement, you can do that. Okay. And WSL is something, Windows subsystem for Linux. That is an additional installment that you have to do. Otherwise, you may get an error saying WSL is not there in your machine. So WSL also you can get easily. Later, if you do installation, you face any issues, ping me in the comment of this video. I will definitely help you. Okay, but first I want to cover the important things. So Docker desktop is this. Docker desktop is this that is running in my machine. Okay. And I have a Docker account. So it is by default connecting to my Docker account. So you can create a simple account in Docker Hub. I showed you Docker Hub now, right? So you can create a account that is free of cost. Okay. So no, I'm not going to cover everything, Ashish, in one go. I'm going to cover basics because there are many people who are very new to Dockers. Okay, so let me explain them all the things step by step. In the end, you can ask me questions. Don't worry. So Docker is running now. Okay, so few basic things I'm going to do in this command line. Is the size good, or I should increase the size more? Let me try increasing little more the size. Okay. So this is my WSL. So what is WSL? It is a Linux terminal that is in backend connecting to my Windows hard drive only, but it will run on Linux operating system. Okay. So LS, where I am, PWD, where I am inside home Aman. Okay. These are my folders. So as I told you, in Dockers, you can pull the images from the Docker file. Okay. So I'm in Docker Hub. Let's go to Docker Hub and try to pull one simple image. Where is my Docker Hub? I had opened, right? Did I close that? Anyway, let's go to Docker Hub. And from here, anything that I want, I can pull. Let me show you how. So let's pull something known as Redis. Okay, it's a quick thing to pull, hence I'm pulling this. Okay. So Redis is an open source key value store that functions as a data structure server. So how do you pull? This command is already here. Okay. So if I run this command in my WSL, I'll be able to pull this image. Okay. Save all your questions, guys. I will take it later. Okay. So come here and say Docker pull Redis. So what I'm saying pull that image that is there on Docker Hub for me. So what it is saying, using default tag latest. So by default, if you don't give any version, it will pull the latest version from the server. Okay, you have a choice of giving the version. Now it has pulled that image. So if I want to see what images is there, I will say Docker images. Okay, this is not a very good view. So can I say Docker images, ls images? No, Docker images ls. I think it should be a virtual kind of vertical kind of thing too. Okay, it is giving something else. So there is a way, I'm forgetting now. There is a command for, doing it this. So in Docker images, guys, you will see what all images you have. So this is the Redis image that I pulled now, right? Redis image ID is this, created 5 days ago. So I pulled this in front of you from Docker Hub. So that is an open source, anybody can pull, not a problem. Similarly, I can create. So what I'm going to do in this session is I'm going to create my own image. I'm going to push that in Docker Hub and pull that. Okay. And then run my application. Very interesting it will be, guys. Please be with me for this session. Okay. Docker pull, Docker. Now, suppose I have pulled this image and I want to run this. So I will just say Docker run and then image ID. So this image ID. So 3E12 E2 CE B6. So for some reason, I'm not able to copy. I don't know why. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to run. So if you can relate to what I was explaining you in theory, right? Image is nothing but how your application should run. Okay. And when you say run, that means what you are saying is create a container and run my image. That is what is happening now. Create a container and run an image. Okay. So if you see my Redis is running now, see here, ready to accept connections. Okay, which means in the background, one container is created and that Docker image is running inside that container. I think you are clear up to here. Okay. Another command that I want to show you here is, I can either open a new session. Let me try to open a new session in WSL. Okay. WSL is nothing but your command line. Okay. I think I need to come out of this student. So let me do I need to close this actually. So I close this because that Redis thing was running, right? And then what you can do is you can push your own image to the Docker, repo as well. Okay, but for that we need to first create an image. We need to first create an application, right? So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to create a Python application. I'm going to create an image of that. I'm going to push that image in repo, and then I'm going to pull it in a different environment. So this is WSL, right? I will run that in my Python command line. Okay, let's do that. First of all, let me create a directory here. So where I am now, pwd, I'm inside home Aman, right? So let me create a directory here. mkdir docker demo ufds. Okay, Docker demo unfold data science. Now at this point, I want to open Visual Studio Code. The reason for that is writing the code will be easy there and it will be more interactive. Okay, so let me go to my desktop and open Visual Studio Code. So guys, you remember I told you to install 3 things for the preparation of this session. You remember I told you install VS Code, install Docker desktop, and install WSL. So those 3 things only I'm using. This is my Visual Studio. In this Visual Studio, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that folder which I created in Linux environment. How to do that? Go here and say open folder. If you say open folder, it will, this is the folder I created, Docker demo UFDS, and I say okay. Do you want to save the change? Don't save. Okay, so I'm inside WSL daemon exited with code 0, check WSL, close WSL window. Okay, not a problem. So let me open this. Okay. Visual Studio is a heavy software, so it takes some time. So one important thing to understand here, guys, Visual Studio is connecting to this particular folder. So on the bottom, you are seeing this terminal, right? Docker demo unfold data science. This is what we created here. So I will not use WSL now because WSL is not very user friendly. See here, I created make directory Docker demo UFDS. I'm going to take a separate session for Unix, guys. Don't worry. Okay. Don't worry if you are not understanding Unix command. Just I am creating a new directory, docker demo UFDS. Okay, I created this, but now I will not use the black screen because many people are not comfortable with black screen. So I come in the white screen. Okay, I'm accessing the same thing. Okay, same thing from here, command line. Okay, so if I say ls, there are no files, so it will show nothing. In that directory, I'm creating a new file, new Python file. Fine, new Python file. And I'm going to say just a simple line, print. Okay, hello, this is Docker session on UFDS. Okay, Docker session on UFDS 11th December. And I'm going to save this Python file. Okay, so what name you want to give? You can say you can say Docker demo 11.py. Okay, this is a Python file I've created. This is a Python file I'm created. Now, how can I run this Python file, guys? If I say shift enter, right? Shift enter, it will run my Python file in the terminal. So let me say shift enter. You see here, it has run my file in terminal. Hello, this is Docker session on UFDS 11 December. So I think you are able to relate now. Here, I have run a Python code. Okay. In the bottom, what you see is what you are seeing here. Same thing, this terminal. There are two terminals open. Let me close one terminal. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, this is my, you can think of it as a simple application, simple Python application. Okay. So just one line my Python does. What my Python does, it creates this thing. That's all. It does nothing else. Now what I'm going to do, pay attention, guys. Very, very, very important. Okay. I'm going to create the first Docker file. Okay. Very, very important to see. Go here and create a new file. Sorry, go here and create a new file and name this file as D capital. Remember D capital, rest all the things small. Call that Docker file. D capital, all the things small. Call that Docker file. Okay. In this Docker file, you are going to write from. So you remember I told you, you have to tell to the Docker that which environment you want to run your this thing in, your Python code in. So if you come to my Python is running in, let's say Python 3.10. Okay, you can see the interpreter here, 3.10 in the bottom. So here you have to say that, hey, my Python will run well if you provide me 3.10 kind of environment. So come here and say from Python, and then I want to take that environment, right? I want to take that environment. Otherwise, my Python code may fail. So how to take that environment? Go to Docker Hub, go to Python, okay? And search the version that you want to use. So which version you want to use? 3.10, any version will work for us. Let's go here. 3.10, for example, Slim Buster. Let me copy this as a plain text. Actually, it is not happening. Then come here after your colon, say this. Okay. Done. From Python, I want 3.10 Slim Buster. This is the first requirement that you are telling in the Docker file. Okay. What is the next thing you want to do? You want to copy everything that is in this current directory to a folder called app. Why I am doing this, guys, I will tell you. So when your Docker image will run, right, then it will create a temporary application, right? And that application should have your files. So if it doesn't have docker demo 11.py, how it will run, right? So you are copying everything to that application. This is the syntax of creating a Docker file. Okay. And I'm creating a very simple application so that all of you can create yourself and very easy to understand. So what I have done, I have built the Python environment. I have copied my application. Next thing what I want to do is I want to run. So for that cmd Python 3. Okay. Python 3 cmd means I want to run this command. cmd Python 3 and then app and then file name of my file, docker demo 11.py. Okay, so what I'm saying here is once you create the environment, once you create Python 3.10 and copy my application, then run this command. This becomes my Docker file. Okay, this becomes my Docker file. If you have understood up to here, congratulations. Now you can create your own Docker file. Okay, this becomes your first Docker file. Very important concept to learn, guys. If you want a good salary, good job in data science, I'm telling you, without ML ops, it's going to be very difficult in coming days. Okay, learn all these things very, very well. Don't run away from coding, Python, shell script, all these things. So this is how you create a Docker image, a Docker file. I have not created image up to now. This is just a Docker file. Once I have the Docker file, now there are two files inside my directory. So I will just come out of Python. Okay, I have come out of Python and I'm inside the same directory, that is my Docker demo UFDS. And if I do a ls minus lrt, right, there are two files. Docker demo 11 is one file and Docker file is another file. Now what I want to do is I want to create my own Docker image. Guys, please go ahead and press the like button if you have not done and you're liking this session. Now what I want to do is I want to create my own Docker image. Okay, so for that, what I need to do is, because that image I will push there, right? Docker build -t. Okay, so what I'm saying, I want to build my image, Docker image. Okay, I will copy this, I will put it here and I will just say dot. Okay, so now what has happened here is one Docker image should have been created, but is there some problem? Repository invalid reference format, repository name must be lowercase. Did I put something uppercase? No, everything is lowercase, right? Fail to solve front-end Docker, fail to create LLB definition, fail to parse tag name, Python 3.10 slim buster. It's not able to, there is some problem here. It's not able to create Python version from here. I think Python, it will take in small case. Let me try to write python and let me try to save this Docker file and let me try to run this one more time. Invalid reference name, repository name must be lowercase. It's a lowercase repository and I have saved it. What is the problem now? Repository name must be lowercase. Python 3.1. That is how. Follow link. How about if I change some other version? Maybe some issue with invalid reference name, repository name. Am I giving somewhere uppercase? Okay, I think I got the problem. Okay, so it should run now. Yeah, I think it is creating the image now. Okay, so by mistake I wrote python all in capital. It should be small letters. Okay, so now I should see a Docker image here. Okay, what is the problem now? Use Docker skin. Sorry, in Docker images I should see, right? Docker images. So in Docker images, if you go, then you will see a new image. You remember I pulled this Redis from internet and this Docker demo UFDS is my image. Okay, this is the image, that is my image. Okay, now this image, what I told you, I will push it to Docker hub and then I will pull it. So let me try pushing it. Okay, so first of all, what I will do is I will just go for pushing the image in your repo. What you need to do is you need to connect to repo and then push it, but there are some steps before that. Okay, first step, what you need to do is you need to tag your image. So you can say Docker tag, what is your image ID? So in this case my image ID is 90bc AB. For some reason I'm not able to copy paste, guys, sorry. I think here I'll be able to do copy, because there I was not able to do. Yeah, I'm able to do, thank God. Okay, so tag your image. And then I want to show you one more thing. In Docker Hub, I have my account. Okay. So this is the Docker Hub, right? I will come here and I will sign into my account once. So my account is Unfold Data Science, guys. Okay. My Docker account is Unfold Data Science. Okay. If you go to Unfold Data Science, then I have some repository here. Okay. I have one or two repository here. So what I need to say to Docker is I want to push my image in this repository because that is my repository. Okay. So that is what I will try to do here. I will try to say Unfold Data Science. I'm tagging the image. Tagging means registering the image, not pushing till now. Unfold Data Science is name of my this thing. Uh, I mean, so say Docker Hub ID, and then which repo I want to push that in. So I want to push that in a repo. Let's called demo Docker DOCKER 11. And what is my image ID? My image ID is this Docker demo UFD. Docker demo UFD. Okay, let me try this if it runs. Okay, so this has run. Now same command but just with push. Docker push. Now it will ask me my credentials. Before this I should have connected to Docker actually, but it should ask my credential. Okay, I think I'm logged in, so let me try to see if it has already pushed that image. Yeah, it has already pushed that image because I'm logged into Docker already. Okay, so see here, demo Docker 11 is what I created now a few seconds ago. You guys can also access my Docker image. Okay, you guys can also access my Docker image because it's a public thing. So you see here Docker demo UFD is my image. Okay, now the last step, what I have done, I have created a Python application. I have created the Docker image. I have pushed the Docker image in Docker Hub. Okay, now I want to pull this and run this in a different environment. That is the whole purpose of Docker, right? I want to pull this and use it in a different environment. So let me do that. And let me go to my Python, I'm sorry, my system command line, which means Windows command line. Okay, so this is my Windows command prompt. Let me increase the size here. Properties, size. Okay, so this is my Windows command prompt. This should also be connecting to Docker version. Okay, so it is Docker is connecting here. What I want to do is I want to push that. I want to pull that. The commands are different between Unix and Windows, so problem. Okay, so if I want to pull this image, where is my image? Then what is the pull command I need to check? Go to Docker Hub. Okay, and if you guys also want to pull my image, right? Then let me open this image and pull command should be somewhere here. Why it is not showing? I want to make it simple so that if you want to do it later, you can do it. Anyway, let me write it here, complete thing, then it will do. So Docker pull, okay, unfold. I think everything from here I can copy paste. Docker, what it is saying, pull access denied for this or may require Docker login. Okay, so it is not logging in, it is not going inside in. So what I'm going to say is Docker login user unfold data science. Okay, password this. Login succeeded. Let me try to run the same command to pull the Docker image. But I want to give Docker demo also. Unfold data science / Docker demo docker 11, right? Demo docker 11 colon docker demo uft, docker demo uft. Let's see what happens now. Okay, and let's see if in docker images it got pulled. Docker images, we can see one docker file here. Okay, can I run this? Docker run docker demo ufd. Python 3 can't open file app docker demo 11, no such file or directory. Did we do some mistake? Docker demo 11, is there some spelling mistake or something? docker docker demo 11, docker 11 dot shit. Oops. Now all these steps we have to repeat from here. No problem, all are in my terminal only. So docker file I changed. So what I need to do is I need to build this again. So every time you change your docker file, you need to build the image again. Okay, so image is built. Now go to docker images, go to docker images. So this is your new image, latest image. Go ahead and tag it. Anyway, this is also making us practice, right? Go ahead and tag it. So this will be your latest image. Okay, and then run this command, then push it. Push it. Okay, once we have pushed it, let's see if the image is updated there. A few seconds ago, so image is updated here. Let me try to go to Windows command line, pull the image one more time. Docker pull. It should pull the latest image by default. Okay, and then where is docker run? Okay, this is done. Your end-to-end thing is done, guys. Now give me few minutes and I will open the floor for questions. Okay, so what I did now is I created a Python application here. Okay, I created a Python application here. I created a Docker file for that Python application. Then I created Docker image for that Python application. Then I pushed that Docker image to Docker Hub. Okay, and just to show you how we can use this image in a different environment, I used Windows command line to pull that image and run my Python application. So this is what my application is doing. This is printing this line. Okay, now this was about how the complete flow for the Dockers work. Okay, now from the theory and from the whatever lab I showed you, whatever question you have, you can ask me now. If somebody is doing parallelly with me, if you are facing any issues, let me know. If somebody is having understanding problem in theory, let me know. Docker file, you will always write capital D. If you don't write capital D, then it's a problem. That is the mandate. In Docker file, you will write capital D and everything small. Since I did in front of you, you saw I made some mistakes. Okay, since I'm talking and typing, right? So I wrote all the Python in capital letter, which was wrong. Then in place of .py, I wrote Python, that was wrong. So every time there is something wrong with your code, what you have to do is you have to go back. You have to go back and change the things, okay, in the Docker file, and then image should be created. I thought I was very slow. You guys are SVK, you are saying fast. It's not fast. Which part you did not understand? It's slow only. I will definitely explain in short. Do you guys want me to explain in short one more time? Bobby Sinha, I think you have joined late. Amit is asking, what is overall size of the image that you have just made? Very, very small image. You can see the size here. If you click on this, right, 42 MB size, okay, because it is having Python that thing, and it's not large image, okay, 42 MB compressed size. And if you guys want, my repo is open, okay, you can take the repo, I mean you can take the image I have created. So many people are saying, can I explain in short one more time? Yes, I can do that. Hold on, guys. If you listen 2 times also, not a problem. Very important concept. Please understand this well. If you have questions, ask me. One more time explanation, okay? From the beginning to the end. One more time, please pay attention. First of all, what is the meaning of Docker and what is the need of Docker, okay? So traditionally, if you are writing an application, then you will, for example, whatever I'm writing here, suppose this part here is your application. What your application does is it imports sklearn and it prints the sklearn version. Now suppose you want to give this application to someone else. So what you need to tell to that person is, hey buddy, run this application in Python 3, don't run in Python 2, it may throw error. And you can say, hey buddy, ensure that sklearn is installed in your machine. Okay, these two things you want to say. Suppose your application is a very large application, so this will increase like crazy. Many things will come. For example, TensorFlow ye version chahiye, uska wo version chahiye, many things will come, right? All these things, all this information, what happens is it becomes very, very large. Okay, and every time you want to port your application from one environment to other environment, this is a lot of manual work, and there is a very good possibility of missing something. Okay, that is the reason there is a concept of Dockers. What Dockers does is it gives you a format and tell you that, hey buddy, whatever you want to whatever you want to do to run your application, put inside a Docker file. I will create an image for you, and that image you can port wherever you want to port. So what you do is you put all this information inside something known as a Docker file that I'm showing you here in VS Code, something known as a Docker file. So, and then you create an image, and that image you take from one environment to other, second environment to third environment, no problem. That image takes care of everything. Okay. So in documentation, there is a large problem of manual effort, writing the large documentation. Many problems are here. Okay. But in image, one image can go to all the places where you want to port your application. So if you want to say run app in Python 3, this is a English sentence. But here I'm saying the same thing by this line. Pay attention, guys. Run the app in Python 3. I'm saying the same thing by from Python install 3.8 Slimbuster version. Same thing I'm saying. Okay. Here, maybe you can say copy all the folders in a application folder, copy all the files in a application folder. Here I can say copy all the things in a application folder. The basic fundamental of Docker is it makes developers' life easy. So you can focus on building your application and focus less on, you know, installing the requirements, how the application will move from one platform to other platform. At the moment you put everything inside a Docker file, you can create something known as a Docker image. That Docker image people can use. Okay, so Docker image and Docker you understood. Now there is a concept of something known as container. So this is how your Docker file will look like. I need Python 3, I need sklearn, and I need this command to run. These three things I only did here. Okay, I need Python 3, I want to copy my files, and I want to run this command. These three things only I did. These three things are here. Okay, this is called a Docker file. Once you create a Docker file, you create something known as a Docker image. Okay, and this image you can give to different environments. Now there is one concept of Docker container that you should know. What is a Docker container? A container is an environment, or you can think it as a virtual box which runs your Docker image. Okay, so in my Windows machine, if you remember, I pulled the Docker image first. So I ran two commands here. First is I pulled Docker pull this image. Okay, and then I said Docker run this image. So at the moment you pull, just the image gets pulled, but it does not run. But if you say run, then your application will run. So if I'm saying run now, you will see my application is running. But when I said pull, nothing happened. Okay, this is all the theory. Now you need to have three things in your machine to work with Docker. First thing is, please install something known as Visual Studio Code. Okay. Second thing is, please install something known as WSL. WSL stands for Windows Subsystem for Linux. And third thing you need to have is create a Docker account which is free and install something known as Docker Desktop in your computer. Okay. For installing Docker Desktop, you need to go to Google and search Docker Desktop install. And then there can be some problem with versions, with how your networking works in your system. Some settings may be here and there. Those settings you need to take care, and then you will be able to install Docker Desktop. Once you are able to install Docker Desktop and WSL, then what you can do is you can come to WSL like that and run a command saying Docker version. If your Docker version is giving some output, that means your Docker is installed. Okay. And your Docker Desktop will look like this. Fine. Now, once you create a Docker Desktop and Docker WSL, then you can create a Docker account as well, which is free, and log in using here. Done. Now, since it is difficult to write code in the black screen, so I am writing code in the Visual Studio Code. Okay, white screen. Okay, people are more friendly with white screen. There is some coloring, codes, etc. So that is better. This Visual Studio, please pay attention, guys. Very important to understand. When you install any software in your local machine, that software will normally access your local computer. Okay, but what WSL enables you to do is it enables you to create a Ubuntu environment or any Linux environment in your operating system without installing a virtual machine or without dual OS installation. So if you go to my computer, right, then inside the network you are seeing this Linux folder. Inside the network, okay, Linux folder. In this Linux folder there is a Ubuntu folder. Okay, in this Ubuntu folder, there is a home folder, and that home is where I am doing all my work. So I'm inside my home only now. Inside home Aman, I am doing all my work. So whatever I created now. So what is the application? Folder I created now will be sitting here in my hard drive. Okay. So see here, these two files I created, right? Docker file and Docker demo. So in Windows machine, you can see your Docker file, whatever files you create in your Linux environment. So that is the use of WSL. If you come to Visual Studio, you can directly link your Visual Studio to your Ubuntu environment. How? You go here and say File, Open Folder, and it will point you to that folder. So home Aman, it is pointing me. So I can say Docker. It will, whichever folder I want to go, I can select and say OK. Remember, by default, your Visual Studio will show your local file system. So if you click on Show Local, right, it will show your local computer, but I don't want to go to local. I want to go to my Ubuntu installation. Okay. If it does not show for you in the first installation, then go and press Ctrl+Shift+P. At the moment you press Ctrl+Shift+P, an option will come. If it is not coming for you, then search for option WSL, new WSL window. Okay. If new WSL window is coming like this, then you can point it to any of your Unix folders. Okay. It will connect you to a Unix folder. Fine. Once you are connected, then you can create your Python application. In this case, my application is very simple application. It is just printing one line. Once you create your Python application, then you create a Docker file in the same folder. What is Docker file doing? It is just saying, I need this Python environment. Okay. I want to copy all my things to an app folder where container will run. And I want to run this command. Just three things. Okay. To run that Python file. Okay. Which environment I want? I want Python 3.10. It should be actually. So while doing some debugging, I made it 3.8. 3.10 it should be. So let me make it 3.8, 10, so that we will repeat all the steps one more time. Okay. So I have changed my Docker file now. So every time you change your Docker file, you need to rebuild your Docker image. How to build the Docker image that I was explaining you in theory? Like this. You say Docker build -t, whatever is the name of your folder, and then dot. Say enter. What is happening now is your Docker image is getting built. Okay. Once the Docker image is built, that image you can see in Docker images command. See here, Docker UFD is the latest image that is built. Now what I want to do is I want to push this image. So let's change this message so that unfold data science December 2, and I will say this is revision. Okay, this is revision. So I have changed my code also. Okay, so what should happen now? I should rebuild my Docker image because my code is changed. Docker image is built now, building. Okay, and now if I go and say Docker images, I will see my images. Now what I want to do, I want to push this image to my Docker Hub. Docker Hub is what? A website, a common repository where people push their images. Okay, so for pushing the image, first I need to tag the image. See here, tag the image. So I will go and take the image ID. I will go here, take my latest image ID. This is my image ID. Okay, and I will say my Docker Hub ID and my Docker Hub, whichever repo I want to push it. Okay, and then I'll say enter. So I think the image is pushed now, the tagged now, not pushed, tagged now. Once it is tagged, we can easily push this image. The push command is here only. See here, push this image. Okay. So when you push this image, what will happen? This image will go and sit in the Docker Hub. Let's go here and see if some image is pushed in the Docker Hub. So if I go back here, see last pushed is 3 minutes ago. Okay. So I pushed just now one more time. Let me see if it is pushed. See last pushed a few seconds ago. Just now I pushed, right? So last pushed a few seconds ago. Okay. So go to Docker demo. Here you should see an image. Okay. Now this image that has been pushed in the Docker Hub can be pulled in a different environment and it can be run. What is that different environment? That different environment is my Windows machine. Okay. In the Windows machine, I will go and say Docker pull my repo name, my ID name, repo name, and image name. Okay. Enter. Okay, so that image that is there in Docker Hub latest has been pulled. So if you see here, pulling from Docker Hub demo Docker 11. So it is pulling from there. And now if I run this, it should show me the latest message. So if you remember, I changed the message. This is revision. So it is showing me the new message. This is revision. Okay, so the flow is whatever you write in a Python file, you create a Docker image, you build a image, you push it to the repo, and that repo can be used. You can also use my repo, I mean my image. So same command, if you put from your Windows command line, if Docker is installed, you will be able to use my image. Not a problem because that's a public thing. So I tried to explain you one more time, guys. I hope now it is clear. Is it clear, SVK? On your request, I explained and many people. Is it clear? Any part I can explain one more time, then you can practice later. Any part you did not understand? Thaib, SBK, Balachandra, Amit. Do you want me to explain any part one more time? I'm happy that SVK you understood now. So I don't feel satisfied if people don't. People have little doubt also. That's my. Hi Srikant. Thanks Srikant. Okay. What is Bobby saying? A WSL 2 installed only for Linux machine or for Windows? For Windows. That is the usability of that. See, in Windows machine, if you want to use a Linux system, what are the options you have? Either you create a virtual machine or you create a dual operating system. WSL is a Microsoft thing. It has made your life easy. Okay, no need to install a separate OS, no need to have a virtual machine. You can use the Linux, environment in Windows using WSL. That is the use. Any other questions, guys? So I request you, please go and create an account on Docker Hub. Okay. Then install Docker Desktop. Then you will face some issues in the installation. Fix those issues. Install WSL also. Install Visual Studio Code. Once all these things is done, create a simple Python application. Try to push it to demo. Pull it in the Windows machine and run it. You will learn a lot of things. Yes, yes. Shrikant, you need to learn. So what I'm saying to all of you guys is, if you are looking for a good career in data science, right, then don't run away from Linux or big data or cloud infrastructure or commands, you know, GitHub or Dockers. If you run away from these things, then problem in long run. Yes, so I'm going to take a GitHub session as well. So these Sunday sessions, guys, will continue. Did you like the session, by the way? I know it is not very easy to understand, but did you like the session? You can always go back and see what I'm doing. Okay, because this will be there in the live thing. So you can always go back and see what I did. And see, anything, if you're learning for first time, you will have problems, issues, you will make mistakes, right? Those things will be there. But if you are learning, see, learning process is always little uncomfortable, right? So, but we have to go through that uncomfortable process to learn. So guys, I will tell you what the plan is. You can tell me how is my plan. Okay. So this Sunday I took a Docker session, right? This is first session on Dockers. Okay. Now I'm going to take few more sessions on Sunday, live sessions, and all these sessions will be inclined to something which is pain point for students. Okay. So you can understand what all pain points you can think. One is, every time in the interview somebody talks about Docker or anywhere. Now at least after this session, you have some understanding. You can do some hands-on, you can talk something on Docker. Okay, it's not like you are at zero. Similarly, wherever students pain point is, for example, now Srikant is asking GitLab, GitHub, these things, right? So I can say GitLab or Git. This is one area. Okay, other area can be Linux commands. Linux commands, many people are not comfortable how to write, how to edit file, how to create things, how to, you know, do little fast things in Linux, right? If you want me to do a separate session on setup of how do you set up a learning environment, I can do that as well. For example, now I install multiple softwares, right? Setup environments means WSL will be needed, VS Code will be needed, Linux environment will be needed, few more things may be needed, right? Then some of the machine learning topics which are kind of, um, you know, you will not find a lot of videos around that on internet. Okay, people tend not to create videos on those topics because many questions may come. Okay, so some topics can be from machine learning, some topics can be from statistics, like that. Okay, so all these things I'm going to cover, guys. Sunday same time. Okay, 3:30 p.m. IST. Please put that in your calendar and come live. You will learn a lot of things. Okay, because what I have been doing till now is, as you remember, I did some knowledge sharing session, I did some interviews. Okay, all these things are important. Knowledge sharing session was also very good, interviews was also very good. Okay, I mean, you people liked it, but I want to go little more technical. The reason for that is I want you guys to come out of your uncomfortable position in some of the areas. Okay, and that is the purpose of I'm going to do a series of sessions on Sundays. Yeah, what is Srikanta asking? Karan is saying it was a good session. Thanks, Karan. Do some practice. If you have a question, put the comment. Okay, Darshan is saying good session. Srikant, can we tell, thanks Darshan, can we tell in interview that we have learned Docker but not having industry hands-on? Is it okay to tell? See, what I will rather say is, you do some practice. Okay, like the way I have built a project now, you can do some practice, you can learn little bit of GitLab CI/CD also, and don't say that I have not used in project. Say that I have used it. Okay, though I'm not an expert, but I have used it, because you have used it, right? You, if you are doing a project, if you are building a CI/CD, if you are building a DevOps, then you can say that I have used it, right? Because at the moment you say I don't have any project experience, that does not create a good impression, is what my take on this is. Okay, so guys, what you have to do, you have to install the software and practice and come for the next session. Next Sunday same time there will be one more interesting session, and then I will try to connect the dots later. So everything I don't want to say now only, I will connect the dots later. Come for the next Sunday session, same time. I will announce in the channel as well. So if you guys like the session, you can tell me in comment, or you can press the like if you have not pressed. And I will see you all in the next session. I mean, with the next video anyway, in the week videos will come, right? Take the video back and see wherever you are having problems. Okay. I also made some mistakes in front of you. So you will also make mistakes, no problem. Do the practice, make mistakes, take the video back and see what I am doing and why I am doing. Okay. We will discuss that, Srikant. Thanks everyone for joining. We will discuss that, Srikant, in upcoming sessions. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. And please do the practice. If you have any doubts, let me know.